What's going on, everyone? I'm Andrew, and welcome back to Broke Man Finance. The biggest question concerning AT&T stock right now for investors is, do you continue to hold off purchasing any more shares, or is now the time to buy in for the value? Obviously, their stock price has seen a pretty significant decrease or decline over the past couple of years, but their dividend payout has been steady. I'm going to cover a few things in today's video that may help you make that decision if you're continuing to hold off or if you're thinking about purchasing more shares. We're going to be talking about things such as their debt payment or debt restructuring. We're going to be talking about their free cash flow, talking about their dividend payout, and generally what their forecast looks like moving into 2021. One of the main reasons why people own AT&T or possibly continue to purchase AT&T and add it to their portfolio is that dividend payout. For many years, AT&T has been labeled as a dividend aristocrat just because of the steady, consecutive dividend growth as well as that dividend payout when other companies have seen their dividend cut or reduced over the past couple of years. But one of the questions for investors is just how good is that dividend, and is the dividend worth it if you're looking at adding the stock to your portfolio? Right now, their dividend yield is at a 7.61% that pays out each quarter. Last quarter, that equaled to roughly 52 cents per share, or an annual payout of $2.08 each share. Their dividend growth has also increased the past 20 consecutive years as well. What's been really impressive for me, though, is during this entire year when other major companies have suspended or cut dividend payouts, AT&T has been one of the few major companies that's kept theirs. So with a dividend that great or that good, a lot of people ask this question: why has their stock decreased significantly the past couple of years? I mean, this year alone, their stock price is down roughly 30%, and the past 5 years, their stock price is down 20%. One of the main reasons is simply debt. They have a massive amount of debt. And when your company has a lot of debt like that, it does second, third order effects in the market. One, investors, the favorability of that company, they say, hey, they have a lot of debt, they have some issues. We don't feel comfortable investing into a company with a lot of debt. Think of it as a relationship. If you went into a relationship with someone and they're bringing in foreclosures, they're bringing in Chapter 7 bankruptcy and stuff, and you have good money or you have good financials, do you want to take on their debt? If you do, it's going to merge with your credit score, their bad credit score, and your good credit score, and it's going to affect you. So investors kind of approach this in a similar manner. Talking about their massive amount of debt, in Q2 of 2020, they reported they had over $152 billion in debt alone, which is a massive amount of debt for a company. So where all did this debt come from, or how did they accumulate this debt? Well, AT&T is no different than any other major company. As you get bigger and they start acquiring more companies such as DirecTV or Time Warner, those acquisitions bring in a lot of debt that normally you don't want to be a part of. With AT&T, Time Warner, and then they launched their big streaming service of HBO Max, this accumulated just too much debt for AT&T. You add to that with the fact that everyone and their brother has a streaming service. I mean, we have Amazon, we have Netflix, we have Disney, the list goes on and on. So you're not really rolling out a product that is in its own lane or own category because you're competing with everyone else. Add to that the dismal numbers or the lack of recurring customers with DirecTV and cable services. DirecTV has seen a major loss of revenue just because of everyone's access to the streaming services. They don't need cable or DirecTV like we saw years ago. So let's change a little direction and talk about why I'm buying into this company, why I think it's a great time to buy more AT&T stock for my personal investment strategy. Now, there are a lot of analysts that agree with me. If you go to any website such as Seeking Alpha or CNBC, a lot of analysts say, hey, we think that the worst days of AT&T is behind them. For a stock price under $30 a share, their dividend payout, the priorities moving forward, we think right now it is a great time to buy this stock, and it's a good time to add it to your portfolio because, one, you don't have those dividend payouts as well as the potential appreciation of the stock as it moves higher in the years to come. So the CEO of AT&T is Mr. John Stankey. And recently he has published his priorities or his vision forward for the company. And one of those top priorities is simply paying off debt. He recognizes that as soon as they get this debt paid off, the company's going to be in a much better financial position to grow the services they want to grow and compete with the competitors that they want to compete with, and not have to worry about cutting dividends or raising costs on things to simply pay down that debt. So speaking of debt, since the close of the Time Warner acquisition, they have already reported to pay down over $30 billion of debt towards that acquisition alone, which is tremendous moving forward as far as John Stankey's vision of paying off this debt. They're also looking to sell the DirecTV company. As I mentioned before, DirecTV has seen some dismal numbers, as well as most of all cable services. This is something that it's just people are not buying into like they did years ago. If you watch any of our technology videos, we talk about the ability to be innovative and think ahead. And it's just sometimes you can be innovative, but the fact of the matter is the world evolves, technology evolves, and something newer, better comes along, and not everything is a guaranteed. The old saying, all good things come to an end. It is no different with DirecTV. But AT&T is looking to sell this company, and the estimated report of the sale is going to bring in, they're looking for $20 to $30 billion of selling off this acquisition they acquired a couple years ago. So $20-30 billion added to the $30 billion they've already paid off for Time Warner. They are clearly in a path moving forward where they're taking this serious, and it's a really good sign for investors. The next thing I like about this company is their free cash flow. Now, this is important for any kind of company. If you're looking at financials, if you're looking at spreadsheets, free cash flow gives you a good indicator of what the pulse is of the company. Now, obviously, they have massive amounts of debt, but in 2019 alone, they reported to bring in over $29 billion of free cash flow. Now, $15 billion of that free cash flow went to pay for the dividend payouts, leaving them $14 billion of free cash flow that they can do several things with: grow and launch more products, expand or improve their company, or take that $14 billion and apply it towards that big chunk of debt. But here's a stat that I like. In the end of quarter 2 of 2020, they reported to have over $7 billion in free cash flow alone. This is just one quarter. I think moving into quarter 3, they're probably going to have about the same amount of money for free cash flow, just because I don't see their company taking off the past quarter with COVID and everything that's going on. Having that continued direction moving forward of that free cash flow is a great sign to me as an investor for this company. So when we talk about free cash flow and the ability to improve as a company, HBO Max is solely in the center of that discussion. Obviously, when AT&T launched HBO Max, it didn't have the start, it didn't have the launch that they anticipated or really wanted. I mean, everyone wants a launch to be better than what it was. But the good news is that since that launch, HBO Max has been slowly building the steam and adding subscribers to them. In the quarter 2 of 2020, they announced that over as far as domestic subscribers, now they're around 36 million customers for HBO Max program, which is a great sign moving into quarter 3, or for most part moving into 2021, as they continue to add to the subscriber base, which is only going to bring in more revenue for AT&T overall. Add to some of the top priorities, expanding broadband, their 5G and the fiber capabilities to rural America. AT&T realizes that, hey, we are in a race with Verizon and T-Mobile. The T-Mobile and Sprint merger really complicated things as far as the major cell phone 5G race for these telecommunicator companies. So they realized, like, hey, we have to get into rural America and expand our services if we want to continue to build our brand and showcase the capabilities we have as a company. And one of those showcases is the FirstNet program that they launched several years ago, which has been very successful in the first responder public safety arena. They just recently announced that the U.S. Army selected the FirstNet program for over 72 installations across the U.S. and Puerto Rico. This partnership will allow more effective and advanced communications for the Army and first responders during national disasters and emergencies. As an investor, you have the chance to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, which is the old Southern saying, meaning you have a chance to, one, buy in AT&T at a great price, under $30 a share, that's paying out this massive dividend each year, and they have publicly said they have no desire to cut dividends anytime soon. In addition to that, most analysts think that AT&T has kind of seen the worst days, right? So moving forward, getting a stock that is under $30 a share, there is no reason why the stock with improvements and the debt restructuring and debt payoff, that next couple of years the stock can hit $40 and $50 a share. So you get that massive dividend payout as well as the appreciation of the stock moving forward. So if I had to put a label on the stock, I'm leaning slight buy. If you see either hold or slight buy, I'm personally buying in more stock. I think that the Q3 earnings, which is coming out in October 22nd, is going to probably be the same as Q2. I don't see any major massive steps towards bringing in more additional revenue and stuff, but I do think they're going to report that they are paying off more debt because of that free cash flow and the priorities of the CEO right now. And overall, for me as an investor, I like the vision that the CEO has. He identifies, if my company's going to move forward, if we're going to be dominant again in our lane or in our area of expertise, we can't do that with massive amounts of debt. And selling companies like AT&T and getting rid of these sluggish companies and basically trimming the fat shows me that he knows that this company has great potential. I mean, you have to compete with now T-Mobile and Verizon alone. Then you're competing with Verizon and Disney and Netflix on the streaming services. So you have to be in a position with cash on hand to make those extreme decisions to better yourself and better the company. And in short, it betters us as shareholders or investors into the company. Now, I'm not saying cash out your life savings and go all in on AT&T Vegas style, baby. But what I am saying is, depending on your investment strategy, because everyone is different, this is a stock that you should at least research or see if it fits into your personal investment strategy. So that's it for me today, guys. Let me know, as always, what you think about the video, what you think about AT&T stock. If there's some news that I haven't already stated, feel free to put those in the comment section. And as always, make sure you hit that like button and or subscribe button. And please, please, please stay safe in the crazy world right now known as 2020. And we'll see you on the next video.